you know, that is unusual. She had, you know, a successful business. I used to tell her, Mom, let's buy a brownstone. And I said, and she said, oh, they're too expensive. I said, why? How much do they cost? And I said, oh, I bet you they cost about $40,000. It's like,
that's a good way of putting it. No, I mean, I agree with you. I've never seen anything as big as Taylor Swift either. I don't really, it's like, you know, like growing up for me, it was probably Madonna, like, or Michael Jackson. But I have a friend.
But even so,
this is way bigger.
Taylor Swift was like, you know, I'm another generation, so I have to admit I'm not really into it. Or when I say into it, it's not that I dislike it. I'm not, you know, I just I'm
what
not.
What about Elvis?
What about who?
Elvis.
Oh yeah, that's my Erica is saying, what about Elvis? Yes, she's right. Elvis was that. He was, and it was in my time.
Maybe she's our generation's Elvis.
What?
I said maybe she's our generation's Elvis.
Oh, right. Maybe she is. That's a good analogy.
I think so too. Do you think she is, Patricia? Do you think Taylor Swift is this generation's Elvis?
You know what? I can only guess because I don't follow her. And I don't totally understand it, to be perfectly honest. Because when I see Taylor Swift, sometimes it reminds me of there was another little white singer girl. I'm trying to remember who. I said, oh, is she like that? But you know, I don't have to understand everything. I can only understand as much as I can grasp. So, but I mean, nothing against Taylor Swift. I don't mean it that way. It's just when I heard about like the crowd and the crazy, and I said, who's Taylor Swift? You know, it's like, but you know, I'm another generation. I know who.
You know who Elvis is? I get it. I don't even know if I understand it. I had to have a friend who's the exact same age as me, who's really heavy in the entertainment business. Because I do reference things like Michael Jackson, Madonna. He was like, David, you have no idea. Like, this is way bigger than that. So I really don't necessarily understand it either. No shade. But I had to have someone explain it to me. Like, this is like the biggest thing ever.
I'm so glad that you said that, because now I know there's someone else similar to me in that idea. I was like, Taylor Swift. I started hearing on the TV and the radio or whatever, Taylor Swift and blah, blah. I'm like, who's Taylor Swift? And, you know, she's...
People... What about like the Kardashians? Like, I don't know if you're into reality TV. I mean, they are huge as well.
Yes, they are. And I know about them. But, you know, I know about them, to be perfectly honest, because their dad was Armenian and I am half Armenian and they are half Armenian. And so they caught my attention from the very beginning. And so that's why. But they became big. But do you think they're okay? There's more than one of them, of course. But I mean, this Taylor Swift thing, I was like, who the hell is Taylor Swift? And I'm like, oh boy, I'm over the hill.
Listen, I know her. I just didn't understand. I mean, I know she's selling out I just didn't understand the magnitude of it until this friend of mine was like, you really need to focus. Like, you don't know how big this is. And then I really got the grasp. Like, she's possibly, I think Elvis Erica is a good, probably that's the best.
I think that was a very good analogy. But anyway, no shade, Taylor.
No shade, Taylor.
I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're successful. Success is very good for everyone's mental health.
What was it like working with Meryl Streep on The Devil Wears Prada?
Loved her, but I loved her before. And when David Frankel, who was a director who I had worked with before, called me and told me about this movie that he was doing, would I like to do the clothes? And he said Meryl Streep. And I said, of course, I love David, so I would have done it anyway, but Meryl Streep was like the cherry on the sundae. And because I respect her, totally respect her as a professional. And I really enjoyed working with her. It was something special. And, there was that whole thing. It went public, so I could say it. I met with her and her beauty person, and they told me what they wanted to do. And I said, fabulous. Because I always wanted to see Meryl glamorous. She can play any role. And she plays a lot of these folksy roles or whatever. And it was just, it was a gift from heaven.
Do you have a favorite? Because the clothes were do you have a favorite like high-end designer? Like, for me, it's like Louis Vuitton. I'm like a Louis Vuitton girl. Like, do you have, like, when you go to the luxury brands, do you have a favorite?
Well, I like a few of them because that's why they're so famous. I like Balenciaga. I like
Dior's new look.
many.
Yours great.
Yeah, Dior. I like Dior. There was somebody on my mind there, but it's just skipping me.
I like Sergio Hudson.
I like Vivienne Westwood. She's comes out of left field in a way like me.
Yeah.
Left field.
As we kind of wind down and wrap up, how would you, so many people have defined your style, but how would you define your own style of what you like to dress in and wear on a daily basis?
That's a nice question because I do. I know I have my own style. I like, how could I put it? To look interesting. I like interesting combinations. Combinations that are not typical or trendy, or they're original. They're my own expression. And this little hat, for example, it's reversible. We have it in my gallery.
I love the money signs on it.
And I like the money signs too. But
wow. Oh wow. Totally reversible.
Yeah. But I think it's very important. Well, maybe it's just me, but to express my art in the way I not only dress others, but the way I dress myself. I like for my clothes to say something. I'm not, I'm an enemy of trendy.
Is there one trend that you just, looking back over the years, disliked more than other trends, or one trend that just stands out to you as far as like, we never need to bring that back?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Not really. I'll say that here and there was something that became a trend that I maybe didn't get at the very beginning, but then I got. But I always liked, I liked clothes to be a little bit, sexy, expressive. Trendy is what I do not like.
You hate athleisure.
Athleisure is another one. When I was in Paris working with Darren on was it?
Emily.
And I was like, okay, I was on the phone, Darren. I said, Darren, I'm going to go out now and check out all the chic French girls. I went out there, jeans, sneakers, sweatpants. I'm like, where am I? Out Midwest somewhere? It was amazing.
And in New York, it took over like the New York
New
brunch
York.
scene.
I know. What is but I'll tell you what. It just backs up my theory about fashion and its place in history and art. And I believe that the way people dress expresses the situation of the time, whether it's the roaring 20s when everything was positive, or the 60s when it was positive and it was like those little white space boots. It was the time, the beginning of going into the space. People were optimistic. And I think people dress in a way that describes what the culture is happening at the time.
That's a good point. I would agree with that.